I've got the girls are having a sleepover, so
Tonight?
I'll probably be interrupted. Yeah, they don't have school. They didn't have school today or tomorrow,
Oh, I see.
so I'll probably get interrupted. But oh well. All right, you ready?
Yep.
Okay, here we go. You know what? Hold on a second. Hey, girls. Okay, I'm going to record now. All right, here we go. I assume we're talking about the Mueller report tonight.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've only read 320 pages so far, so that's why I told Beth she should stay home from Max soccer practice. And I was like, so what are you planning on doing? Reading the Mueller report while we're gone?
I was watching it live. We're live, and like we're going to talk about the Mueller report, but like I was watching it live when they released it at like 9:30 or 10 or whatever, and it was amazing that like it had been released for like 4 minutes, and there were already like snippets coming out. And it's like, man, how do they? I mean, they must just have people like, okay, you're going to take this section, this section, this section. You tell us when you see something important.
Yeah, that's crazy to think about.
Yeah.
How they cover all that.
Yeah. So strange. All right, here we go.
All right.
Hi, and thanks for downloading this episode of the IVMB podcast, which is brought to you by the listeners who support us on Patreon. Well, the Cubs had a weaker opponent this week, and they did exactly what they needed to do. The Cubs went down to Miami and swept the Marlins. In the 3 games, the Cubs outscored the Marlins 17-2, as really all aspects of the team looked pretty sharp. I would say that the starting pitching anchored the team, and we will dig into the starts by Darvish, Quintana, and Hamels. And there's a lot more to talk this series. It's nice to have a series sweep to talk about, even if it is the Marlins. So we will also preview the upcoming Diamondback series. I'm one of your co-hosts. My name is Corey, and I am joined on this episode by one other host. It's Andy. How's it going, Andy?
Hey, it's going well. Thanks.
Good. So I will handle the scary stat on this episode, and I actually have a few scary stats to share. So on the last episode, we talked about the Chris Davis 247 batting average zaniness. And so here is another just general baseball side scary stat. So on Wednesday night, Joey Votto popped out to the first baseman in one of his at bats. No big deal, right, Andy? He just popped out to first. That's what baseball players do.
Right. He's just trying to connect with his fellow first baseman.
Right. It is a big deal because it was the first time in Joey Votto's career that he popped out to the first baseman.
No way.
Yeah, left-handed hitter, and he had never popped out to the first baseman. He's been in the big leagues since 2007. So that was 6,829 plate appearances without a pop out to first base. I cannot figure that out. Like, it just makes no sense.
I would have guessed like it would have been kind of a low number, like if you would have had me guess, but because I figure most of the time he's hitting it hard, but it's not a lot of weak contact to the pull side, but still the first time is insane.
14 people using the internet over here, so give me just a second.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
And then this next scary stat, it comes from Jason in New Mexico, and it's a scary stat to
bonus scary stat.
It is, yeah. Actually, I have even another one after this one. So this is what happens. Like,
how dare you? I mean, that's a little over the line.
I know. I just totally abuse the responsibility that I have of handling the scary stat. But okay, so this one comes from Jason in New Mexico, and it's kind of a scary stat to put this season into context. So he pointed out that last year, it wasn't until the 20th game of the season that the Cubs were more than one game above or below 500. And it wasn't until the 24th game that they started a winning streak or losing streak of more than 2 games. So, so thanks for sending that in, Jason. And I was kind of thinking about that, it feels like the Cubs have started slow, but they currently sit 1 game under 500 with a record of 8-9. Last year, the Cubs won 95 games. And so maybe the Cubs have weathered the worst of the bullpen storm. The offense looks really good, even without Bryant and Rizzo producing like they're capable of. Contreras and Javi they're really stepping up. But as the Cubs sit 1 game under 500 and 2.5 games out of first place in the division, the Cubs currently have the best run differential in the division. Their run differential is plus 18. The Cardinals are plus 12. The Pirates are plus 5. The Reds are -1. And the Brewers, who are first in the division, are last in run differential at -2.
Interesting.
Yeah. And
the Brewers have played all their last 10, so they haven't done as well as I think there are, along with the Cubs, 2 or 3 other teams who have gone 7-3 in their last 10. So other teams most of the division is playing pretty well, except for the Brewers.
Yeah. Well, and so the Cubs have the second best run differential in the entire National League, trailing only the Dodgers, who have a plus 29 run differential. So,
Dang.
Yeah. So, I think those are some things. I mean, and it's going to be easy for people to say. I guess the gist of it is like the offense really looks pretty good, and we've known that like pretty much since the beginning of the season. But I think we've seen now, and granted, it's a weaker opponent, but when the pitching does perform, this team is really good. And the run differential is interesting because I think the Cubs, run differential is kind of strange, especially like earlier in the season where there can be these like huge swings if you have a really potent offense. But I think, if you're looking for something positive here after a sweep, I think, that's something to look at. So although the Cubs did kind of take advantage of the Marlins, Andy, let me ask you this. Does this sweep improve your outlook for the season?
Yeah, I'd say it helps a little. I mean, I'm trying not to put too much stock in it, since like you already mentioned, the Marlins are projected bottom of the table dwellers. I like calling the standings the table now that I watch soccer a lot. But it still feels good to see this Cubs team flex its muscles for sure. But like I mentioned before, the 7-3 in the last 10 makes me feel even better.
Mm-hmm.
That, if they can kind of replicate that on a in 10 game segments going forward, 7-3, 6-4, 8-2, a bunch of those together, they're going to be in pretty good shape.
Yeah. So I wouldn't say that I think all of the Cubs problems are solved. There are still certain things I'm worried about, like the catcher situation, the backup catcher situation. I was worried about it before, and now that Caratini is gone for a month or two, I really don't like the idea of Taylor Davis filling that role for months. If I'm looking at time frames, like if Taylor Davis needed to come up for a week or two, I think that's one thing. But the idea of like 2 months, I'm not real comfortable with that.
That's what it's going to be. It sounds like.
Right.
I mean, it sounds like he's going to be gone. Caratini's going to be gone for a pretty long time.
Yeah, and there are options for the Cubs, but they haven't done anything yet. So, and I think we're seeing a healthy and rested Wilson Contreras, really producing like a maniac at the plate. And I really do think the Cubs need to go out and get a backup catcher, because I'm concerned that they're just going to lean on Wilson more. And we saw what happened to his production after the All-Star break last year, specifically, especially in the month of September and towards the second half of August. And I don't know if like all of that offensive drop off that he experienced last year, I don't know if that can all be blamed on overuse, but I think it has to be a contributing factor. I mean, I think that's part of it. So there's that situation. I think the bullpen is still a concern. And like I said in the last episode, I think it will stabilize over the next 4 to 6 weeks as some players start to come back from injury. But I don't think it matters how great the bullpen pitches. There will always be doubt in the back of our minds now, especially this season with the bullpen. And really, that's the same doubt that most baseball fans have about their favorite team's bullpen. I think everybody feels that way about bullpens. But we've seen that bullpen kind of piddle away series that should have been easy. And we've seen the Cubs do that. Like, in previous years, I feel like there's been these series where it's like, okay, this is where they get back on track, and they'll go play a weaker opponent and just, maybe like take 1 out of 3 or something like that. And that's like, this is strange, but like I remember a very specific series against the Marlins down in Miami. And this may have been like 7 years ago or something. And it was like, okay, the Marlins were terrible. This is what the Cubs need. They can kind of right the ship. And they went down there, and I think they got swept. And so, like, there's something about the idea, or last year, they started the season in Miami, and you're like, hey, they can get off to a great start here. They can, 4-game sweep should be pretty easy. Maybe they lose 1, and then they'll be fine. And if you remember, they split the series, the 4-game series to start the season last year. So it just feels like
was the first game of that series that insane like 17-inning game?
No, that was the second or the third, because we were on the road for the first one, and I remember watching it on TV. That went like super late, and and they lost. But so I'm just saying, like, I think we've seen them underperform against weaker teams. And to me, it felt like the Cubs just went down there and they took care of business. And I think the starting pitching really stepped up, and the offense stepped up. And I we'll kind of start with the starting pitching, but I was really impressed with each outing. So let's get into them. Why don't you take it away?
Well, yeah, I mean, that they did to the Marlins, kind of what I was hoping to start the season. I thought it was, drawing the Rangers to start season. That kind of like the Marlins.
Andy,
they should have
hold on
really stuck it to. And
can you hear me?
Yeah.
I got to do something about the internet.
Okay.
Yeah, I got to figure out what's going on because it's so choppy.
Okay.
Sorry for the live viewers. Let me see what's going on here.
It's okay. Just me all alone in my basement. Live look at the lonely basement. Well, so if you're just joining us, Kurt and Corey quit. Kurt and Corey quit the podcast. Wait, Corey's back.
I'm back.
He decided to unquit. He decided to unbreak my heart.
Sorry. Hopefully we get it straightened out here. I don't know. As soon as we get fiber out here, like, the internet is not good. I don't understand.
Right. It did. It was serviceable before fiber.
Yeah. Okay, so if you could start when I kind of kicked it over to you.
And then you have.
Okay. You know what?
Okay.
So I'm just going to have to stop the live stream.
Uh-oh. We just had a bunch of friends join.
because, well, now it seems to be okay. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. I don't know. Let me see. I don't even have that many windows open.
I don't have near the, I don't know, my average number of tabs open that I normally do.
I guess if we need any stats, I'll need you to look them up because I can't do it. Okay.
Yeah, I can try to do that.
So if you just want to start with when you started talking about pitchers.
Yeah, I mean, so like, they took care of business. The Marlins, which was kind of what I expected them to do against the Rangers to start the season.
Sorry, not happening.
No good?
Nope. All right, so I'm going to have to stop the live broadcast. Sorry, anybody, for watching. I guess you'll just have to listen to the podcast version because I don't know what's going on. So I don't know. I don't know if it sounds fine to them, but I cannot. I can't. It's on this end. It isn't working. So we'll try it again on Sunday, and we'll put this episode out tonight. But I know some DSL is outdated. I got fiber. I don't understand. So, all right. Well, thanks for watching for a few minutes. Sorry.